Hey, hi everyone. I'm Kerry Cassidy from Project Camelot. Very happy to be here today. So we have the speakers from the Awakening Conference, and I'm going to get the banner and put it on the screen. But we're all here. I think everyone can see everyone. And so, Donna, why don't you go forward because you are the host of the conference?
Well, welcome everybody. I'm so excited to have you all join us this April to the Awakening Summit. Elisa and myself, really, actually, Elisa's been busting her butt to make this happen. She's a wonderful person I met in my life, and I'm very grateful to her. And of course, Stewie and Mike and all of you guys and Joe. But so Lisa and I are trying to bring awareness and prevention towards child trafficking. We know it's a lot deeper than that. And I wanted to give each of you a time to discuss the reason you're coming to New York and where do you think we can actually make that change and awareness happen with the New Yorkers and, of course, with the rest of America. But that's really the goal here. So, Chris, why don't you talk? Tell us a little bit about you. I got you again.
You did.
I got you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris O'Connor. I spent quite a few years in what we colloquially, well, I'll skip that word. Many years in what we call the secret space program. I had a lot of exposure to a lot of things that people would be just amazed that actually exists already. We've just been kept in the dark. And the reason this particular subject, means something to me is because I saw a lot of abductions and slavery and some really rough stuff out there. And I just feel like it's really important that we're aware of it. I would not try to bring fear, but I think it's smart to have an awareness. And so here I am.
So another question, Chris, with your exposure and your years of experience, do you see that there's a positive introduction of hope that you can bring to the event after you witness that and you're here and you're surviving and not we definitely not about fear mongering. We're not looking to make people terrified. We're looking to bring hope and
Yeah.
solutions. Do you come with that? After your experience, do you feel hopeful?
Oh yes, absolutely. That's my whole thing on an emotional level is I just want people to understand these are just circumstances. These are things that were placed in to our society, but we can first of all change those. And we can also help others that are kind of stuck in that, and so I hope is eternal for me. And, absolutely, I always see it because and the more I've learned, the more I've remembered, the more I've understood, and the more hope I have,
So why do
and
you think you were chosen to be a super soldier? Why did they pick you for that experience and you to be here today and then coming to the New York event? I mean, there's always a purpose for those experiences. Like did you learn about that? Like why they
uh,
choose certain people or
they it's almost always a soul contract that you make prior to incarnation. And I just happen to remember making that agreement prior to coming here. We made it with it was either Navy or Air Force. That memory is a little fuzzy on that. But we made an agreement that they would take me and then use technology to advance me age-wise, genetically speaking, and then um, then just continue this amazing journey that way. So it was a choice of mine that I made before I ever was born.
and do you think you went and had that experience to create the Deems device to teach us a different type of technology for healing to be part of the new ways of healing? Do you think that's why the Deems device is here on the planet now?
Yes, absolutely. Because it's my hope and goal is nobody needs it ever. They learn how to bring that out of themselves once again for self-healing and connection to source and source energy and,
Right.
love frequencies and all that stuff. I mean, it's like kumbaya, right? But it's also true.
Right.
You know.
Donna, why don't we have every speaker introduce themselves since these are the speakers?
Sorry.
Are there other speakers that are missing? Maybe at the end you can talk about those people.
Brad and Matt are missing today.
Okay, so
Okay.
why don't we go around the circle? And you should start with introducing yourself, Donna.
So I was a little clumsy with the start. My apologies. I'm Donna Ferrara. I am the founder of the Awakening Summit. I work along with Elisa, who's been a tremendous influence in my life, and she's really the one that really rocked off the help build this event to be what it is, and I'm grateful to her. So I'm just an average person who want to bring awareness and solution to the trafficking that goes on in Long Island, New York, and around the world. And that's really the passion. It's once you're aware of it, for me, there's just no turning it off. And of course, it's much deeper than the horrific things about child trafficking. You're learning about off-world planets and how we're all interconnected, and that's a little far out for a lot of people, and I respect that. But I don't think an average loving kind existence wants to kill and do what they do to children or any other type of animal in general. So I just wanted to bring awareness in, and honestly, there's so many people are interested in coming, and everybody here that's on this round table is all for stopping the sacrificing of human beings, especially the children. And some people have religious memories or read through books that at one time people would bring their firstborns and publicly sacrifice them. Then something happened to their awareness that they didn't want that anymore. And apparently we're told it went underground. So if that shift could happen then, we can shift a lot right now. But the love, the energy, and commitment that we have to bring awareness and change, the more that we do that, the more change is possible. So that's the hope of the whole premise here. And everyone that we're inviting brings different components of their knowledge and experience to help educate and bring awareness to the audience and to the whole world. And that's the whole premise of why I'm doing this. So do you want to go around? You want to start with
Yes,
Joe
let's
and then
go around. So Chris, you already introduced yourself, I guess. So, okay, who's the next person wants to go?
why don't
My
we
name's
start? Let's
I'll
say
go if
hello to
you like.
Stewie. Go ahead, Stu, you go.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
Stu. I'm Stu from England. You could say I am the artist formerly known as Stu's News, but since I met Elisa, I am now Stu from Patriots across the pond. Um, I've been awake nearly 25 years, actively trying to get the truth out about all sorts of subjects to people. But yeah, ultimately, why we're all doing this is for the children and for the future of humanity. I've never been to the States. I'm very much looking forward to coming over there. The reason I haven't been to the States is because I knew what a shit show was going on about 15 years ago, and I thought, oh, it's all going to come down New World Order. Then Trump came in and Q, and everything started unfolding. And yeah, I'm really well. If we haven't gone into another lockdown and all planes will be grounded worldwide, I'm very much looking forward to being there.
Great. Elisa?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Elisa V. And, I've, similar to Stu, I've been awake for a really long time. And I guess pivotal moment was probably, after 9/11, being a New Yorker, being here, and, the experience of actually knowing people that perished and just the impact that it had on our life living here. Got together with Stu, and together we're Patriots across the pond. And I think our overall goal with why we do what we do is really to just across the board bring awareness, help people to see that, a lot of the things they've been told just are not true. For those people who sort of always had a weird feeling or were called a conspiracy theorist, we're trying to validate and help them get through a lot of the lies, and then hopefully awaken other people. I've known Donna for gosh, I guess 5 years now, and very similar views. We live very close to near each other on Long Island, and there's just not been a lot that's happened in the New York area. We get a bad rap here in New York. Everybody's liberal, everybody's asleep, and unfortunately, that's just not true. But that's the narrative that's put out there. So we felt that we really needed to start having events that allowed those people that do not fit under that category to have a community, a place to come, to expand their knowledge, to interact with other people, and that's how we do it. Of course, the children, and the aspect of children, child trafficking, and everything that falls under that umbrella is, why we all do it. I think the other very important aspect of this that I'm hoping will come out of the Awakening Summit is also bringing an element of awareness and truth to what's going on geopolitically, militarily, because none of these things are kind of in a bubble. They're all interrelated, and it's important for people to have a 40,000-foot view of a lot of these things. So we've put together an amazing roster of speakers that cover a variety of areas that all gel together, that I think is going to be a phenomenal event. And we've got people coming from literally all over the world. So it's pretty exciting.
Let's go. Let's jump over to Joe.
All right. Well, I'm Joe Rosati, and one half of Truth Stream. The other half is here, Scott Stone. And I heard what Donna and Elisa were up to last year for the first Awakening Summit, and then they let me know that they were doing another one relatively quickly. And having been a part of a couple of Truth Tours and live events, I just thought let's see what we can do to make this possible without spending an arm and a leg. And so I'm just excited to be a part of this event and meet everybody. And the live events are amazing. And being in the Pacific Northwest, we certainly relate to that similar feeling, like, where are the events, where are the people? So anything I can do to help, manifest this in the Northeast part of the country, I'm all on board. And, we met through Lewis, Scott and I, our first events were through Lewis Herms, who's running for governor of California. And we met a lot of amazing people, including Bruce Poppy, who's going to be there, and Robert Imbriale, who's going to be helping with the AV. And so we've just met a lot of amazing people that can help make the events run smoother. And it's an honor to do this work. And I will turn it over to Scott.
Thanks,
He might
Joe.
have to unmute himself.
Hey, I'll keep it real brief because I've got the GPS in the background. I apologize, I'm in the car. And
Yeah, you're
behind
cutting
I
out.
speak in New York. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, go on, try again.
Okay. I'll just keep it real brief. I think Joe said what needs to be said. This has been a calling for us, and these events are just magical. And this one, I think, is just growing, and it's going to be bigger and bigger as we get closer to the event. So I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you all so much.
What about you, Kerry?
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm an investigative journalist, documentary filmmaker, and I've been working interviewing whistleblowers from above top secret for over 20 years. And yeah, so Donna came to one of my conferences I do every year in the UK, and apparently she liked it and decided to
nice.
do her own conferences at a certain point. So, so now we did one. I think was that October when we were
Yes.
there, because it all seems so
Yes.
long ago. But anyway, so I'm here to, or I'm going to be there to present as usual. So I'll be talking about the invasions going on, the invasions that have happened, the invasions that's going on right now, Stargates, the Stargate wars, a lot of anything that's front and center right now. There's a big bond issue that's actually, to some degree, I think, distracting people from what is known as the derivatives. That actually is much bigger than even the bond issue. I'm not sure why they're concentrating on the bond issue, but they are. So, so as I say, but as far as I'm concerned, you can go to my website, projectcamelotportal.com, get all my links to social media, and see the About Us page for more information. Thank you.
So, Elisa, which way do you want to take this?
Well, I think it would be good to just give an overview of who we actually have coming to the event thus far. There's a few more that have yet to be announced. So we're going to be inviting, of course, everybody on this illustrious panel right now, but also we'll have Derek Johnson. We're going to be having Dr. Jan Halper Hayes, Brad Olsen will be there, Lisa Schermerhorn, Laura Worley. Um, we had mentioned Matt Geiger. He is one of our platinum sponsors, and he'll be there as well. Light Warrior Patriot. We have Susan Lingenfelter, who works within the Long Island area of child trafficking prevention. Um, and we have Lewis Herms and Mark Abrahams at this point, who are going to be zoomed in. So there's a chance that they may actually show up in person, pending some schedules. But at this point, they will be zoomed in. And there's a few other people that we're hoping to make the announcements. Stu and I are going to be the MCs, and we'll probably be speaking a little bit, to some geopolitical areas. And it's 2 days, as we've been talking. This event is going to be a Saturday and Sunday, April 25th and 26th. Donna, I think it's 10 until 6 each
Yeah.
day.
Yes.
We are sold out of our VIP tickets, which enabled people to get there an hour earlier and mingle with the speakers. So that's all sold out at this point, but we do, of course, have general admission tickets still available. It's really going to be great. We're kind of grassroots, so we're having it in a very small town, if you will, on Long Island in Nassau County, about 30 minutes from Kennedy Airport, just to put it in perspective, called Lynbrook. And we're uh, we're really looking forward to, what this second event brings. I mean, Kerry did attend our first one, as did Brad. So we're thrilled that they're coming back and they're going to be part of this again. And then, of course, we have a lot of people that are coming for the first time.
Yeah, I like the fact um, that Kerry and Brad are coming back without a doubt. And I like that we have a wonderful, distinguished panel coming in. And I just am so grateful that these individuals are going to share a tremendous amount of information. And I don't think that any of them are really, the audience is really aware of. I think when you sit down, you sit and you volunteer as an adult to pay for a ticket to come and sit to the panel, and you take in the information they're giving you, you can walk away with maybe thinking about some of the news information you're meeting. How really real is this child trafficking? Why are they talking about off-world experiences? What's the truth about the media? When you have like a Derek Johnson there talking about your constitution and military law, you bring in words and conversation, and it can penetrate the overactive minds that so many Americans and people around the world are so preoccupied. We're all so exhausted. There's so much going on, and it's relentless and it's pounding. And the panel and the environment of the room, I'd rather it be very relaxed, so you can take in what you're hearing. Like when they talk about, you want to talk about Q, you want to talk about the wars that are going on. Why is that happening there? Is it even true? You have Derek to break down some of the symbolism that's being told and give you more factual sides to maybe at least digest what you're hearing. Those kind of things. You have Chris come in and talk about, we have to start talking more about people who have been abducted and have off-world experiences, more live people coming in, like Kerry's perspective as well, because that's coming into the reality. You know what I'm trying to say? So more that we can bring into a common sense factor. People are starting to hear more about child trafficking. So what does that even mean? What does that mean, a child's traffic? Where are they missing? There's more that we have to really bring into the consciousness of people. Why are they being trafficked? Who wants to traffic children? And that's where you're going to get into the deeper levels of probably everything you've learned about on the news or in history, right? But when you have distinguished panels that are very genuine, very kind, very knowledgeable, and they talk to you like it's a conversation you're having at home in your living room amongst friends and family, it resonates a little bit better. You're not here to make people be afraid of anything that you're saying. You just want to prepare their mindset for what's coming. We all know that more is coming into the media network. There's going to be a lot of more, I don't know, tribulations of unpleasant news articles that'll be coming into the news waves because it's happening. And I find people here, at least around where I am, to be very triggered now, very asking a lot of questions. They're asking about, well, I don't understand, why are the Democrats not supporting the fact that they're getting rid of the immigrants that are raping and killing children? Just the fact that someone would even say that out loud now is a triumphant conversation. I'm like so excited. Or when they make fun of the news about aliens being spotted or drones, the fact that they're breaking that barrier to have someone listen into the possibility that it's not a cartoon show, that they're dropping real words and language to break the mentality of people. And it's interesting to have people talk about how ignorant we are about our own constitution and about how we don't know a lot about our military. It's interesting about how the media has lied. And then, I was traveling recently and I met people from all around the world, and I would ask them, in Saudi Arabia, is it more or less what's happening there? Because the news will lie to us, minimize or exaggerate. And he said that they're lying about what they're publicizing, that it's Iran and Iraq that's bombing Saudi Arabia because of the U.S. bases that are there, which that's not happening. That's not why it's happening. But just the fact that that citizen of that country believe that narrative, right? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, the more that we can even question the news, more that people question what they're hearing, I think is what the panel is going to help them practice to do. If they walk out of the conference being curious and questioning their logic, we're all a success. It's a great success that someone can think out of their narrative. That's the whole thing about having speakers come in, is to make you curious about that subject matter. And once you're curious, you can't go back into where you were. Forget it. Once you broke out of that and your curiosity is open, it's endless now. It unfolds into many, many levels of your thinking pattern. Everything in the world, everything someone's saying to you is completely different. And that's what you want to give people a chance to realize, because you think about the containment. Think about the containment that people have lived in, and that strong contain the cocoon that people have been functioning in. But we're breaking out of that. We want to break out of the matrix of that thinking, so that we could just move on to a better place. That's just the goal, I think, in my opinion.
So maybe we could have each speaker talk a little bit about what they're going to be talking about. Like you don't have to go into detail, but at least what is your topic and a little bit about that. That might be interesting for people.
Okay, well, I can start that off quickly because I'm not going to do much speaking up on stage, obviously, apart from the introduction and everything. But Lisa and I have decided, I think we're going to start off just to do a little introduction to Q for anyone that doesn't know anything about it, and just see how that goes. I think we decided, Lisa, haven't we?
Yeah. And of
Yeah.
course, we'll be, introducing all the speakers as MCs throughout the whole thing. We'll take a small segment to, give people an overview. It's going to be interesting to see the crowd. Like, we're hopeful that a lot of the crowd might be pretty sophisticated, if they're coming to something like this. But then again, we might get some newbies that are saying, hey, something's not right, something feels weird. This sounds like a really good place for me to maybe learn, or, maybe they know one of the speakers they're familiar with, so we thought that, being what we talk about, a lot of geopolitics, that familiarizing everyone with Q would be, a really good place to start.
Yeah. And yeah, and I shall be, interacting with the people all day long, no doubt, in and out off the stage and up and down, and
You
yeah,
guys are going to be so busy. You do a great job.
Joe, what
yeah.
about you?
That's a great question, because I feel like my role in this world, if you will, is more of a bridge. A lot of the woo woo stuff I haven't really necessarily experienced myself, but the questions I asked are usually coming from maybe a layman's approach to this. So because on TruthStream we
Sure.
trying to balance between um, looking at things from a newbie perspective and also bringing in, perspective that might be more seasoned, if you will. So I may, this is a great question. I may bring up things like, if people are familiar with the Donald Marshall story, The music a lot of the music that we've listened to over the years has not been written by the people that we think it's written by. So these are some of the subject matters that I personally am interested in, and maybe some of the interviews that we've done and the subject matter of that. And then I know that there's going to be a little bit of Q&A if people have questions. So that might be part of Scott and I's presentation as well. So we cover such a wide variety on the show that we can kind of pull from a lot of those different experiences, if that makes sense. So yeah, Scott and I will be figuring that out. But one thing I've learned is that when Scott and I try to really plan something, it's just better that we don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to add to that, Joe. That's exactly what Elise and I do, because obviously we can really delve into the decoding and the woo and rabbit holes and stuff. But we also want our show to be for people that are just coming over that haven't got a clue what's going on. So we're also a bridge as well, and it's brilliant to talk about these subjects to as wide an audience as possible.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, we want to hear from Chris, but I want to just piggyback on what you just said, both Stu and Joe. One of the things that we felt, Donna and I felt when we were putting this together, is that there's just not a lot of men these days that are, embracing their power the way they should. And we are going to be having some panels that we're pulling together, a lot of what we would call, the men in this community that are going to be attending the speakers, and have a couple of panels together where those discussions can, or be organic and kind of delve into some of the issues, and where maybe men can, as the physically stronger sex, as the protector, whatever, these roles that have been vilified, particularly in our American men, and bring forth the idea that, like, we need to empower our men again, because they need to have a more active role in a lot of what's going on in our world right now. So anyway, Chris, want to hear a little bit about what you're going to be speaking about?
Yeah, uh, the majority of what I'll speak about is just in good part is my actual story and some of my actual experiences, which can challenge some thinking, but it's what it is, right? It's my story. And then I could bring in some reasons of why people disappear, hiking in the mountains, and they're suddenly gone, and they're all part of like a structured group of people being disappeared on Earth, and there's a number of things, but for the most part, I can only and simply and mostly always just share my story, because that's, the research that I do to support myself and to understand, so I can speak with a fair degree of, you know, unintelligence at times. And so I don't like to do that. So, and so I do research for that. But for the most part, I share my story about being off world and working with the U.S. federal government, and actually the United Nations, which there is a separate United Nations from the one we're aware of, and that one is off planet as well. So we'll
Interesting.
talk about those things.
Yeah. Kerry, I know you gave a little bit of insight. Is there anything else you want to add about what you're going to be bringing to the summit?
Oh, sure. I try to track everything that happens going on that's a major sort of game changer, which we're having daily practically. So I never presume that what I'm going to talk about completely, but I certainly have I've just done, a number of interviews, so you can kind of get a drift on where I'm headed. But I am also re-releasing all the Camelot witness testimony right now. And because they gave me back one of my YouTube channels, which used to have thousands of videos, literally. They won't give me that one back, but they do give me little ones with like 13 videos. So we're adding videos to that daily. And then I'm going to try to copy over a lot of my Rumble videos all over there that have been done over the last, say, 4 years since I was deleted off YouTube. So it's kind of a good time right now for me and for my work, because all these years, 20 years is a long time, obviously, and people don't go digging back in my website for a lot of these really important witnesses. And the UAP hearings are bringing forward witnesses, but they're not, I mean, they've barely grazed the surface. And so I think it's really important that people start to hear our witnesses that got me on this road to begin with. And so I think, if I can, I'm just going to be highlighting those over the next months. And I have a Telegram channel where I post daily. So these kinds of things are making it possible. If Trump is going to make an announcement in July, it's going to propel this conference and others like it to present material that could influence Trump, let's say, and the rollout of the, if you want to call it, disclosure process, if that's really going to happen. And then right now I think I'm doing an interview tomorrow with Nino, if it works out, about this general who's just disappeared, McCasland. So, so this is the kind of thing where that's all, very engrossing. It's fascinating information, and we're living it. So it's really vital. I know people want to say, sit back and watch the show, but I don't believe that because we have to live it. Okay, so you can sit there and predict all you want. It may or may not happen, and especially the way you think it will. But nonetheless, when you have to experience it, it's not a show. You're in it. Yeah, hello. So that is, I just take issue with that saying that people say all the time because I think it gets them out responsive of the responsibility to live in the moment, and I think that's very important.
I
So
think that's a great point.
Yeah.
It actually makes people feel like they could just sit and be passive.
yeah,
And that's an amazing point that you bring out. And I would love to see that point brought out at the conference because there's a lot of people that come and they take in information, they take it, but now what are you going to do with it? How are you going to be involved? How are you going to make a difference, whatever small way it is or big? And that's such an important point you just raised.
yeah,
Thank you.
we are the change in the end of the day,
Right.
and that includes people in Iran, for example. And I made this point in a video yesterday, but I've traveled in the Middle East quite a bit, and I've gotten to know the people. I speak to the everyday people and also the guides and who work with us and all of that. And they tell me secrets, but they also tell me that those are all, I think almost without exception, those are dictatorships. Okay. So people do not understand why they don't get the truth from the people, even. We see videos, some of them may be CGI, in fact, but the reality is we are the ones that make history. It's not somebody who has an AI that can predict something in terms of basically potentialities, right? In a number, say, well, there's an 80% chance something is going to happen. But I can't tell you how many predictions have not happened. And no one ever owns up to that. Okay. So just wanting to say that we, the people, are the ones that make the change. We are the change. And this would not be happening without us and our energy. These people
Right.
cannot just be speaking to the wind when they all do so many, a lot of people without naming names are doing they're doing video after video every single day. And, I don't do it daily necessarily, but I do a lot of them. And I can say that it's not because people are talking about it that's what's happening when they're talking about some people that are thinking this or doing this. More on the spot might be little videos like on Facebook or wherever you see those little ones where people just talk and just say without any finesse or whatever it is. I think that's important because we're getting the here and now with where the people's heads are at. And I think this change cannot happen without us. So I would say that for the conference, at the conference, and hopefully we can carry that forward.
We the
Yes, I'm with
people
you
are
on
the
that.
plan.
I'm with you on that because look, we're having a conference, a second conference in New York. And I find a lot of people are putting up and have a lot of curiosity about alien life and really protesting child abduction and changes you can do in your school and your local community. I find more people have finding their voice, and actually, a lot of people are putting together programs that they can bring to the schools for preventive care. They have resolutions. Like, there's a lot happening, and I think it's because you spoke out, you have your podcast. I think there's a lot of reasons why we're all together right now on this live table, this round table, and why we're coming together to New York to be part of this energy change at this conference. I just think this is the beginning of a wonderful change that's happening. And I think it's spreading. I do see more activity. I do see a lot more people asking all different kinds of questions, and I'm thrilled about it. I love getting a phone call, someone bumping into me and bringing up the most craziest thing. And I'm like, don't ever feel you're crazy around me because I'm already a nut. So let's just chat, let's just do it. And the freedom in that, people need to feel, I feel it's very isolating when you follow your instincts. It's a very isolating experience because you're on your own, you're following your own truth. And if you meet people along the way to have similar outlooks, well, kudos to you. But a lot of the times you're single in it. And staying true to yourself and true to the message that you're following, no matter how bizarre it is, that eventually brings you to where we are today. And there are a lot of people who are starting to, talk about these things. I think the conference is just the very beginning of where we're all going to be. We'll do more of these, no matter what it takes, we'll do more. And the word gets out and more people want to come because their curiosity is opened. They're interested, and you people with you, not me, but you folks are so well experienced to share and answer their questions, and then they're starving for the information. And it's great that we are maybe all from the same spaceship, maybe. I
Right.
don't, you know what I mean? We're all from the same family of some sort, and it's our job. This is our mission to have met to be together. And this is something that you're going to do for the rest of your life. You don't walk away from this. You're not permitted. You're not allowed to turn your back on this. It's your truth. You have to follow that because you're going to help other people feel comfortable and their curiosities and truth about it. It's teamwork, and we don't have to know exactly why we signed up for this or why we're having it, but we know it's our inner truth to follow that. And I think that's the whole goal, is to help others. And, I'm so grateful for each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. And this is just the beginning of what we'll be doing on the East Coast and hopefully around the world as well.
I
Yeah.
didn't know he was
Are
going
you
to do
sending
that.
hearts to me? That's so sweet. Oh,
I didn't know he was going to do that. I saw Joe sticking
oh
thumbs
yeah,
up, give a
sure.
thumb up earlier. So I
Oh, yeah.
I want to just reiterate the website too. It's
Oh,
theawakeningsummit.org. So that's where you could get tickets, find out more, see who's speaking. Um, and it's going to be great. So I'm really hoping, anybody who's considering or on the fence to come. It's very centrally located, whether
yeah.
you're on the eastern end of Long Island, whether you're in the boroughs of New York, whether you're over the bridge in Connecticut. And if you're coming from afar, we have some people that are coming from the UK. We're not far from Boston, not far from DC. So we really would love to have a diverse crowd of all kinds of people because let me tell you, just like Donna went to Kerry's event in the UK and came back with not only knowledge, but just relationships and, more people that are part of the soul family. It does make a difference when you're in person versus though we are
Oh,
appreciative you watch our podcast, but you can't compare that to actually being in person and being in that energy.
true. Like, I met Chris at one of the conferences and I was blown away. I mean, I was so intrigued. I was like, oh, the same thing happened with Brad and Laura Eisenhower.
Mm.
I thought they were just very down, like very grassrooted people with a lot of information to share. I really resonated with the three of you and a few others at these conferences, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is it! It's over for me. I'm taking over. This is it." I was so absorbed in it, and of course, Kerry's conference is in a beautiful, like old. It's like an old house or a manor. The setting is so fantastic and very welcoming. We had a great day. So you're on the grass and very chilled and everyone was very talkative and giving. It was just a wonderful experience. And I said, oh, that's how I would prefer it. Have like a warm environment, nothing too crazy and big where people could talk and mingle. It's a little bit more hands-on what Kerry's putting on. I really like that. I didn't want it to be like a over the top where you can't even reach people and talk. I'm not into that.
Right.
Hands-on and talking because we're all average people, just sharing our opinions and stories, right? And I just feel it really engulfs people, and I think they feel a little safe. It's like
It
a
does.
safe
Can I
net. Yes, go
I
ahead.
want to speak to what you're because the one of the first people that Scott and I met was Brad Olsen, and it was a year before we even started Truth Stream. These conferences are literally life changing when you meet people that
Yes.
are up there sharing their heart and
Yeah.
their mission and what they've been through, and you get to
Right.
actually meet them. It something. It's like it alters your DNA.
It does.
It's
And
amazing.
there's no going back. Like
Yeah,
once
there's
you've been it, you can't put it back. You just keeps going, and you meet more and more people, and it gives you your energy and your confidence to go forward. And working the event is it's fun. It's definitely a lot of work. Elisa can attest to that, of course. And getting people to want to participate and be sponsors, all of that is a little bit of a struggle sometimes, to be honest. It is. But as long as you can keep it within a means and you can bring people together, don't give up. Just keep going forward because I 100% feel that this is the very beginning of much more to come. So I'm not giving up on it. I love it. I love that you all are going to be here with us, and it's a gift to society that we pull ourselves together to share. It's a gift we're giving, and hopefully we can nurse and help educate and help people to feel safe. I think it's about feeling safe to talk about your curiosities,
yep.
what you really feel, what you resonate with. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know it's okay to think like this or to listen to someone's story and maybe they've had an experience that they keep thinking it's a dream or I think people have a lot more going on inside of them that they're not really ready to share or feel or be yet.
Well,
I think
Donna, to
there's a lot
speak to
more to
that,
come out. Say
to speak
again?
well, to speak to that, what you're saying, I remember thinking because when I was little and I was in seventh and eighth grade, there was a big paddle in the corner of the room, and if you screwed up, it's called Big Red, and you knew, and it never needed to be used on me, but you knew that if that was there, it would keep you in line. And they had us questioning spanking in the last 5 to 10 years, and I remember
I
thinking,
hope so.
what? Why is that? Knowing that I could get spanked, it kept me in line. And that's just one little example of the mind control that they've done. And I just wanted to share that. I'm really excited that Brad Olson's here.
Hey, Brad.
Hey guys.
Hi,
Hey,
Brad.
Brad. So, yeah, so we're not, we're going to wrap this up pretty soon, but it'd be great if you, Brad, would talk first, introduce yourself, what we've been doing, and then say what you're going to talk about when you're doing the conference and anything else you might want to add.
Yeah, absolutely. Just got off another interview, so sorry I'm late. But my name is Brad Olson. I just have a new book that came out called Secrets of Antarctica, which I'll be giving a brand new conference presentation on, based on largely Admiral Byrd's trips to Antarctica, what he discovered, as well as the Third Reich going down there and setting up their colonies and new maps and information that came from the fall of the Soviet Union, from all the documents that were collected right after the war by the Russians, were the first to get into Berlin. And a lot of these maps and U-boat diving instructions have just started to emerge from a Russian journalist named Nikolai Subotin. So this is like the smoking gun that the Nazis had made their way deep underneath the ice. So you guys will have to hear my talk, and it's also in my book because I've got some really explosive information about the Nazis setting up colony under the ice. And by all accounts, they're still there, multi generations. And Kerry, you and I know because you had that book called The New Berlin Base. It's on the Camelot
Right.
website, translated into German. And the guy starts out in the book saying he grew up in this world underneath the ice, like endless miles of domes under the ice. And so a lot of this is coming true about what we've heard about Antarctica, and now corroborating evidence showing that there is a whole environment, whole world down there, and even advanced civilizations.
Cool. Very cool. So is there anything else? Let's see. I guess you didn't really give your background. Why don't you give
Oh,
your background a little?
sure. Well, yeah, this is my 11th book. Been publishing and writing books for over 30 years. And I went down to Antarctica a little over 7 years ago on a sailboat. Boy, that was a butt kicking trip. But I'm here to tell the story, and I survived. So, yeah,
Uh,
just love talking all things Antarctica. It's such a wild and different environment than anything you can imagine here on Earth. It's 99% covered in ice, and it's just this otherworldly environment down there. So I'll talk about that and give people an impression of what it's like to travel down there as well.
Anybody else have anything like to say? Chris, what about you? Do you have anything you want to ship to me? Any books?
Yeah,
Any
for
of your TED?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can tell people to go to my website, deemscompany.com. That's DEEMS company.com. And my book just came out also, Brad. So, yay,
Great.
finally. It was my first one. So,
Great, great.
yeah, so I'm excited about that. It's called Man of Mimas, Mimas. You can get it on Amazon right now. But yeah, so I'll ship some to the conference and some Deems devices, which
Sure.
is magnetic healing devices. So we'll have some there.
I shared that device with a couple of friends, and they better give it back. Sometimes they hold on to it too much. I go, who has that Deems device?
Yeah,
You still
nobody
have
wants to
it?
let it go.
I know, but you have to share to expose,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Um, Carrie, you don't bring your books, right? They have to order online.
Yeah, I don't carry it around, but I was just going to show people a picture and
Sure.
share the front of my website so that people can see. Let me see if this is going to work right. I hope this is the right window. Anyway, so this is my website, Project Camelot, and it's jam packed. Okay, 20 years of work is all in here, and you're welcome to donate. And we charge a really small amount, like as low as $3 a month if you sign up for a year. So it's not going to break the bank, and we're going to Egypt. In fact, if it all works out, if we can make it. If the Iran war winds down, which I think it's going to do, then we will be there on April 29th through the 9th of May. And if you want to sign up, you can still come. I just did this kind of groundbreaking, radical discussion with Marissa Acasella. And the interesting thing of that was that she's a New Yorker and she's an artist. She's actually a well-known artist. And she has a very openness about her. She doesn't know everything. She hasn't been in this sector for, I don't think, that many years, but her openness and her desire to question me about everything was very dynamic. So it's quite a fun interview in that regard. So where was I going? Oh yeah, my book. So here's my book. It's actually in two books, and now we're combining it into one. So I didn't know originally how we should release it, but it is two books at the moment and available on Amazon, 5 stars. And hope you like them. It's jam packed with whistleblower disclosures. Captain Mark Richards, an incredible person who I've interviewed. Let's see, I interviewed him 12 times over a period of 5 years. So that's what it contains, his testimony. And my website is huge, and hope you'll come there and just put in a search term or a search name, first or last name, best way to do it. And yeah, so it'd be nice if more people would go over. I know people don't go to websites as much as they used to, but anyway, that's my website. But I do
Oh,
have a very active Telegram, Facebook, you name it. I'm on it, and X. I mean, I'm posting on X.com every single day,
oh.
and Telegram.
I
Yeah.
have a question for Brad. Do you think the timing of your exposure with Antarctica and all these hidden secrets is just not matching? I feel like your books, your discovery, you yourself making your way around the world, discussing forbidden lands that you're not allowed to go to, and it has hidden secrets and a lot of disclosure coming out. I think it's the tip of the iceberg to find out a lot of hidden secrets on the earth, and I think you're just a small voice actually bringing to the world about the hidden secrets here on our planet, our universe. I think it's so important that you discuss the fact that someone's preventing us from being to exploring our world that we live on, why that is, and what could be hidden there. I mean, it opens up the mind to wonder why we have facilities we're forbidden to go see, and then that opens up all the hidden secrets, possible lies that we were conditioned to believe in. And that opens up everything. I think there's going to be a lot more people like you, Brad, that bring in. I mean, you did so much work for so many years, and I greatly appreciate it. And so does everybody else. But I'm just think that your subject matter is the tip of the iceberg that's about to happen on the planet. I think truth and honesty is going to be coming out, and you're very gentle when you speak, so people can listen and learn from you. You articulate it very well and all, but I think it's the very beginning of what is going to be happening. The exposure of the hidden secrets, the alien conversations, all of this talk about your DNA is being jeopardized by chemical injections and what you're breathing. And what does that all mean to have your DNA messed with? Like, opening up your head that you have a DNA. What is in it? Where were you from? People talking about having more people come forward and speak about the Laura Worleys, the Chris O'Connors, talking about their experience and they survived it. So it's great. Unfortunately, they had these experiences, but they survived it. And they can talk about survival. So that makes you less afraid. It makes you less afraid to be someone who comes out, or to, I just think it's all happening for a reason. A discovery about hidden secrets across the board. Planet, universe, alien, your DNA, your heritage, your education, all of it. Maybe the whole thing about the COVID lockdown, the whole world had to experience. I think that's a very interesting subject, that the entire world knows about the COVID lockdown. What does that represent? What about the injections? Is it real or isn't it real? The whole scam of the conversation is amazing. It just brings it in such amazing platforms. Like, why were we locked down? I mean, why? Like, it's what it flips so many people out. People are really disturbed over what happened. It's an amazing process to where we are
Yeah,
today.
well, it'd be nice to see some people like Fauci go to jail for it.
Yeah,
I'd like to see
totally.
some payback for the people that lied. But
Yep.
yes, of course, it's a fascinating dynamic that we're living through. And they're talking right now about a lockdown as a result of this war and not letting people travel,
Right.
and our financial system going down. And the White Hats are actually working very hard to bring it all down. I don't think people really
Yeah.
realize that.
Right.
They're in a good way. They're trying to get rid of the dark cabal, and that we're all part of that war, whether we want to be or like it or not. So I think that that's something to keep in mind, that a lot of people have no idea that they're actually part of a battle right now. This is a battle for Earth's sovereignty and our freedom, okay, on every level: freedom of speech, freedom to travel, freedom for our children, freedom from tyranny, in essence. And that includes, the women of Iran, for example, okay? And these ayatollahs that are dictators that have been keeping them down for all these centuries, and people that want to defend them. I'm sorry, I can't do that. So I just want to say that, these are dialogues that need to happen, but you also have to frame it in the right way such that you can become more enlightened rather than just sort of close it down and be negative about it. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that these conferences do open up those topics. They may be uncomfortable, but it's a great place to begin the dialogue. If you haven't done that in your own life, you can't talk to your friends and family. So this
Mm.
is also a great opportunity. Networking at my conferences in England, is huge. It's a huge, we consider the networking as important as the speaker. You know, it's like, in fact, getting people back in the room after we have a break is really just insane, you know, because
Yeah.
people get engrossed and they're talking to each other and they're, you know, and it's, as you say, it's a lovely setting. So everyone is, you know, it's summer also.
Yeah, it's
So
lovely.
it's warm and beautiful and you know, yeah, people can open up with each other. And I think any conference you can do that. Doesn't matter where it's held or how it's
Mhm.
held. I've met so many people, great people at conferences, and it's always a great experience. So just want to say that. I do think we need to wrap this up, but any final comments? We could maybe go around the circle.
Yeah, Brad, because
Well,
he was never able to answer. Go ahead.
yeah, I did want to
I'm
jump in
sorry.
and say, yeah, Donna, I've said on many interviews, and I'll say it here, that I think disclosure could very well come out of Antarctica. It could be that one of these massive motherships gets spotted or publicized by Russia or China or somewhere else. What's going on down there? In the back of my book, I say all roads lead to Antarctica. Of course, no roads lead to Antarctica, but all the disclosure movement type phenomenon
Right.
seems to have an element in this frozen continent. It's just one of the greatest enigmas of planet Earth. I mean, if you wanted to hide from the surface being detected by radar or satellite, under the ice in Antarctica or the deepest depths of the ocean are really the last unexplored regions of this planet, and it would be the best place to hide out. So, if full knowledge, full disclosure comes, I would say Antarctica will certainly have a role to play in that disclosure. And just to give everybody my contact information, you can find me at bradolsen.com, which has all my conference schedule on it, other projects I'm working on. And then CCC Publishing is the book publishing website, and Laura Eisenhower, Michael Jaco, Leo Zagami, and other authors are available there too. And then that's where you can get a signed copy of my book, Secrets of Antarctica, or any of my other books on the esoteric subject. So I'm really interested in all these topics that have been hidden from humanity. And that's what I endeavor to bring out in my books and my talks and just give people an insight of what has been kept from the human mind all these years. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all you guys in New York. Only a
Yeah.
couple weeks away. It's going to be a great conference, and let's do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, well, I just wanted to say if anyone wants to watch any of my older stuff, just go to stewsnews.uk. It's sort of even me waffling on to myself on BitChute, but even BitChute is censored in the UK now. I can see all my stuff, but I can't watch it. But if you want to watch our latest stuff, go to patriotscrossthepond.com with
Incredible.
Elisa and I. And like Kerry, I am most active on Telegram all the time. All my links are on those two websites, and we go live on 5 channels. But our Rumble, Patriots Across the Pond, is our main channel. And one last thing, I haven't written any books, but if anyone would like to bring one of their books for me to the Awakening Summit, that I could put in my ever expanding reference library, I would be overwhelmed. And thank you very much.
Mhm. What about you, Chris?
Well, I'm just really glad that I'll be going. Donna, I think you're putting together something that's really important. And the thing about it is that what I like about you and what I like about what you're putting together is you're bringing people together that can just speak without judgment of others, and we're just there to hear one another and just learn. You know, we just
Right.
got to come together, and these opportunities for us to come together are priceless. So thank you, very much.
And a thank you to Elisa because we're a team, FYI.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Donna. I
Yes,
want to
of
thank
course.
Kerry for putting this together and putting this on your platform. This has been we're very honored about this to get that kind of um, support for this event because we're still really little here in New York, so getting the word out is really important.
Yeah,
Joe? Joe?
brilliant.
Oh yeah, no, it's an honor to be here. And if people are interested in learning more about TruthStream, go to Linktree, type in TruthStream. Everything is there. We just keep it simple. That's it. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I get to see Brad in person again and meet Kerry for the first time. And Chris,
Aw.
thanks for sharing your story. I'll be there. I'm going to jump in with you guys and we'll air it on Truth Stream on Saturday. Why not? Because I think the story is
Perfect.
important to get out
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah,
That was
brilliant.
great.
More than welcome.
yeah.
Okay, Donna, you want to have parting remarks?
Well, I'm over the moon to have all of you and the others that haven't been able to make the roundtable today. And, Kerry, thank you so much for showing so much support to Elisa and I. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. And I think you're fabulous. Yeah, I think you broke the ceiling for so many people to speak openly about these topics that were never done before. You had the hardest ride because you took a lot of beatings and it was a horrible ride for you.
Thank you.
And thank God for you. And I greatly appreciate that. And all of us here could be talking about this because of people like yourself. So I'm happy to have you aboard, of course, as always. And everyone here who's unique and has a special subject to bring in is going to touch the people in the audience and around the world. And I'm just happy to be part of the team. And thank you all for participating with us. It's going to be amazing. And it's just the beginning of what we're here to do. So I'll see everybody in April. I look forward to all of you being there. And I
Sure.
feel very
You
blessed.
cut out. You cut out quite a
Oh,
bit
did
right
I?
there. Yeah, a little bit. Just go back a sentence or two.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's coming. It's going to be a great time. And we're going to make a difference. We're here to help humanity and change the world by just doing these little conferences and bringing knowledge and information and hopefully bringing a lot more curiosity to the people that come and see and listen. So that's it. I'll see everybody in April.
Okay,
Brilliant.
thank you. And take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone. And
Thank you,
thanks for
guys.
Thanks,
watching.
everyone.
Bye. Ciao.